Hello there folks, it is TIJ Gaming and welcome to a brand new series. Today is time for the pilot, the first episode of our MotoGP 18 career. Look at this title screen, it looks absolutely glorious. The Ducati of Andrea Dovizioso, who of course finished second in the title race last year, behind the Honda of Marc Marquez. But this is a game that admittedly I've had for a few months now. It did come out in June last year, made by Milestone, who have made the last few MotoGP games. Now I have to say, I've done a particularly good job in producing those games. So I hope this game will be very, very similar. But I thought, I'm looking for new content on the channel. I do fancy playing this. I tend to play the MotoGP games once I get into them a hell of a lot. But this year, for some reason, I haven't. And with the MotoGP starting again this year, well, of course it starts again this year, but with the MotoGP starting again this weekend, I thought it would be a brilliant opportunity to perhaps pilot an episode on the channel of a series. Now, you might think, oh, it's just going to be another career mode series. Well, no, it's not actually, because I've worked it out in terms of timings, in terms of how long we've got till the new game probably coming out, which is randomly what I'm on about, which is probably going to be coming out sort of the start of June. So, if we do 2 videos a week, 9 or 10 weeks that will take to fulfill the whole MotoGP season, we'll be up to about the end of May, and that will hopefully overlap into the new MotoGP game, and hopefully by then, I know I'm looking a long way into the future, I will gauge to see if you guys would like to see any future content on the new game. But we're going to do a championship. It's a little bit different of an idea. We're not doing a career mode, but we're doing a championship, and this championship, who other could you do it with? He's the first man that comes up. Could you really do a championship on this game with anybody else? The legend, the man, the myth, the legend, the 9-time champion, closely followed by, of course, the Spaniard now, Marc Marquez. This is taking a while to load. That's Jorge Lorenzo, Dovizioso and Pedrosa. Marc Marquez is the big man in MotoGP at the moment, the man to beat. He won the championship by quite a canter in the end last year against Dovizioso, but this year it's going to be a big test for all of these riders. But Valentino Rossi, he's the GOAT, fundamentally, in MotoGP. The stats back it up. He's a legend. He's 39 years old in the game. He's 40 years of age this year. And to be quite honest, he is none other than a racing legend. Never mind a MotoGP legend, but just a legend in racing all around. So, we are going to do a championship with Valentino Rossi. As you can see, there's 19 races on the calendar. We start in Qatar at the Losail International Circuit. Go all the way through out to Argentina, Austin, Jerez, Le Mans, carry on through to the likes of Silverstone, Mazzano and Aragon, and then end the season with a triple header at the Australian Phillip Island, the Sepang International Circuit, and then the Circuit de Valencia. So we're going to go with the official championship, and we're going to start at the Grand Prix du Qatar. Right, so our race length is going to be 5 laps, but I think that's about 25%. I think that's right. 15% would only be 2 laps, 3 laps even. 25% is 5 laps. Now, we're going to do, qualifying and race. I'm quite happy with that. I don't want to do the full weekend, even though in MotoGP, if you don't know, you have to get in the top 12 in Q2. Not the top 12, the top 10 in FP2 to manage to get into Q2 automatically for the start of the race. But we're going to just go with qualifying and race. That means we start in Q1, which means we have to get through that session every weekend. But I think that's going to be quite exciting. Now, AI difficulty, if we can change this throughout, I will, but we're going to go for the hard setting at 80%. I don't want to go any harder than that. I've only played this game a little bit. It seems a little bit tricky, to be honest. We're not going to have tyre wear on because, to be honest, I'd rather just push throughout the race. I think that's fair enough, to be honest. We're just going to push throughout the race, and we don't want any silly stuff with tyre wear. But we are going to have manual start management on, so we need to pull the clutch at the start, which is going to be quite nice. But our physics level in terms of simulation is going to be normal. Will we go with Pro? No, we won't go with Pro. We'll have joint brakes, and we don't want to do that. With option, we want to be punished for making our mistakes. Auto tucking, yep. Ideal trajectory, just only corners, and then gears semi-automatic, rewinds on. As you can see, our man is there, Mr. Rossi. As you can see, our length of race is 5 laps, 29%. The weather, of course, is a nighttime race here in Qatar. It's very doubtful that we are going to get a wet race here at Qatar. But I have to say, I absolutely adore the presentation style in this game. They've really come a long way forward from the last game. It's an official presentation style with the Drivers and Constructors Championship. And I have to say, it looks absolutely beautiful. So without any further ado, let's get into the weekend. Let's go to Qatar, the Grand Prix of Qatar. We're just going to skip out this because I think that all the pre-race stuff is involved with a copyright claim, which I don't fancy getting. But this, as I mentioned earlier, is going to be a pilot. If you guys enjoy, we will definitely continue this on the channel throughout the next few months to gauge your opinions as well on the new MotoGP game that will come out at the start of June. And it's really a wind of change on the channel at the moment. You'll notice there's a lot of stuff new on the channel. The snooker, cricket and Formula 1. And MotoGP is just going to add to that list. And this series might replace something else on the channel, or it might just be an addition to the schedule, which I don't think will be a problem. We can definitely fit it in somewhere. But if this pilot goes well, I hope we can get 10 likes. That'd be absolutely fantastic. And if we can, we'll have 2 races a week of MotoGP, along with 2 F1 races a week, 3 snooker videos a week, and 2 Ashes videos a week. What is not to love? But this Sunday slot has been freed up for pilots like this, so I think it's a perfect opportunity with the Qatar Grand Prix probably finishing 15 minutes ago as I record this, because the Qatar Grand Prix is on at 5 PM this evening. This will be coming out at 6 PM this evening, and it should be an interesting race. Obviously Marquez starting a little bit further down the field, which is a bit of a shock, but Rossi is starting way down the field. Vinales on pole, so that could be an interesting one. But look at this, the graphics look fantastic in my opinion. Looks really great. And the air temperature is 20 degrees, track temperature is 26 degrees, and there's a little bit of wind to the northeast. But as I said before, we've got to start in this Q1 session. As you can see, here's Valley coming out into the pits just to say hello to his engineer, etc, etc. Put his helmet on, and then we'll be going for our first laps on the Movistar Monster Energy Yamaha factory racing bike. Right, so who else is in Q1? So we've got Bradley Smith, Paul Espargaro, Danny Pedrosa is having to come through the first qualifying session on the factory Honda. That's interesting. Tito Rabat, Espargaro on the Aprilia, Cyrene, Reddin, Bautista, Morbidelli, Luti, Nakagami, Abraham, Simeon, and of course ourselves. So this is interesting because I think that Danny Pedrosa is definitely going to get through to the next session. Danny Pedrosa is a quality racer. Of course, it was his last season in MotoGP last year. He's had a really good career, but he's kind of always been the bridesmaid and not the bride. But there we go. Here's Valle's 2 bikes. You can see his one bike is in the garage, but his normal bike, his first bike choice, is here, and we are going to get out onto the track now. Of course, we've got to set a lap that's in the top 2 to get through to the Q2 session, or else we do qualify wherever we finish in this session, and of course we have to minus 12 off that. But from what I've played so far, I'm not too keen really on the handling in this game, particularly compared to the previous games. It might be more realistic, I'm not sure, but we're going to go for a lap around Qatar and see where we can go in the standings, even though I'll admit now, Qatar's not my strongest track. Right, so we're coming onto the home straight at the Qatar circuit. It's not been the worst lap in the world, albeit, you know, it's been a decent lap, a little bit scrappy. We've kept it on the track, that's all that matters, and we come across the line for 153 even 0.2. Now, we had full traction control on that time. We're going to try another lap with a little bit less traction control. We've got the full setting 3, 2, 1 or 0, so it's a little bit less traction control, so we can put the accelerator on a little bit more. We'll have to control the bike a little bit more. But I have to say, I quite like this game, the way it just feels that these bikes are big and bulky and you've got to control them. I don't know why I feel that immersion, but more than ever I certainly do. But a little bit off our fastest effort. That's certainly not going to help at that corner. That's not an optimised line at all. But I feel like this does require a lot of concentration in quali, so I'm going to shut up and hopefully we can improve on our first effort. Oh, we've had our first fall. Well, hopefully we cut a few seconds before that. To be fair, we were on the side of the track. We were fairly close to going onto the gravel. But it is much better to have a crash there than it is later on in qualifying. It was our first experience. Obviously, we haven't had the 4 practice sessions before this, so to have a bit of an incident there is better than having it at any other place. But I don't know if anybody else has set a lap so far, but we're still top of the grid. I'm guessing that nobody else has. Is there a race director? No, it doesn't seem like there is, so that's a bit of a shame. But we're near the end of the lap. We're going to do a few more laps just to get a bit of experience in. You know, even if our lap's the quickest of the lot, it's certainly not going to help, not going to hurt us to get more experience. And equally, it's not going to help just to come into the pits now and think that we're done, because we might be absolutely whooped here. But it's time for our third flying lap. This one's been a bit scrappy. We did fall off the bike, but now it's time for a real, hopefully, quicker flying lap. Really pushing the bike here in that first intermediate split. Nearly 2/10 up. This is good stuff, and hopefully we can carry that through. It's not helping that Xavier Sirion is right in front of us, hindering our line very much so. We're going to have to make the move on him pretty quickly. But that being said, we are still up. That's not the best line to take. Oh, we don't want to take Simeon out either, but I think we've got the pass on him now. Don't take us out, for goodness sake, Simeon. I think turn 10 was when we crashed it last time, so a little bit better around there, and it's minute improvements. We're only 2 tenths up, but an improvement is an improvement. And that's more like it. Wow, I think we're very much coming at 1 with his bike now. You'll probably noticed we've turned the traction control down to 2 now. I feel like I'm getting a bit more adept with the handling on this game. I didn't like it before, and Qatar's not a track that I do like, so I came into this qualifying session fairly pessimistic, but we're improving on our first effort. That last corner is going to be very important. Just get the power down as soon as possible. It's a tricky hairpin that is there, but Xavier Simeon's right behind us. But how much is this going to improve? We're about 5 tenths up. Is that going to marry with our time? I mean, it's not 5 tenths improvement, but it's a 3.5 tenth improvement. But it doesn't seem anybody's beating that so far. I'd love to see how close everybody is. I just know that we're top of the pile at the moment. And I hope that if the AI setting is too low, that we can change that in the season. But shouldn't be anything to worry about yet. I certainly don't think we're going to take pole position here, because we're not the quickest that we could be. But you just never know. Are we up here again? No, we're a tenth down. But, you know, it's minute, and that's something that can be made up throughout the lap. I think, in truth, with motorcycles and with all motorbike formula, it's all about confidence with the bike. It's all about how quickly you can take it, increasing that braking distance and making sure that you've got a later braking into the corner. Bautista pops into the pits. We weren't really going to get much slipstream from him on the straight. We've been a little bit down all lap, but I feel like this could still be a better lap, and it certainly is. That last sector was a much better than it could have been. And I'm going to pop back into the pits now, because I feel like that time is going to be good enough for... we're going to... Yeah, okay, we'll repair the bike. It must have been out on the marbles a little bit. But what are the results looking like? I mean, we're a long way up. Wow. Well, we've dominated that session. We're 1.3 seconds above Pedrosa. A little bit worried we haven't quite set the AI hard enough here, but... For our first serious race on this game, to be 1.3 seconds above a factory Honda in Q1 is impressive. But we've got to go and do it all again now in Q2. But at least we'll start inside the top 12, which is a definite success. Well, the fastest 12 riders, I should say. Goodness me, it's not Formula 1 anymore. The fastest 12 riders in this weekend so far. 2 from Q1, ourselves and Danny Pedrosa, and the top 10 are all in this Q2 session. Can we take it to the top bikes and the top blokes? I'm not necessarily sure, but Jack Miller, Dovi, Viñales, Crutchlow, Rins, Zarco, Marquez, Iannone, Lorenzo, Petrucci, ourselves, and Pedrosa. We make up one of 3 Italians in this. Yeah, oh, one of 4. Sorry, we forgot Dovizioso. But I think we're gonna fast forward this a little bit just to see what the times are like. We set a 1, blimey. We could be a second clear here in pole position. We might be. We might have the difficulty set a little bit too low. But we're still going to go out there. There's no point saying, well, we're going to start in 12th, give ourselves an uphill struggle. Because that 52 point... was it a 52.4? You guys probably know better than me, because it wasn't as far away from you in the video as it was for me. But, you know, we might not be able to replicate that again. And we've given ourselves a little bit of a time limit here. So, pole position certainly isn't a definite for us. So we've got a nice slipstream, a little bit of slipstream, a little bit of clear air in front of us. We've got pet trucks about 2 or 3 seconds up the road on the Pramac, so we look pretty good. But we're a 10th up on Dovi so far in that first sector, so we are looking very competitive. As I say, this is only a pilot, so apologies if the difficulty is a little bit low in qualifying, but I think we will make 1 or 2 mistakes in the race, like we did there at that corner. And if it is too low, we'll simply just move the difficulty down for next episode. But I'm not going to complain about starting the season with 25 points, but of course, we can't get ahead of ourselves just yet. I can tell we're quick on this effort because Petrucci is no disgrace as a rider. He's a brilliant rider. He come very high in the qualifying yesterday in the 2019 season. Of course, he's gone to the factory Ducati team for this season, so it's going to be a nice slipstream from him, even though I think this is going to be a brilliant lap. What's it going to be? It's a 152.3, and we go pole by 8 tenths of a second. I don't think we need another lap. I think that's very much going to be it for this session. And I think it is. It looks like we're going to take pole. Marquez has put a brilliant lap in to be within 6 tenths, and he'll start second tomorrow. But with the only Yamaha on the front row, Viñales, our teammate, starts 4th. But there's 3 different manufacturers on the front row with ourselves, Marquez and Dovi, and I think tomorrow, despite us being quite a way up in quali, it's not going to be cut and dry that we're going to win this race because we've got two mega riders behind us, Marquez and Dovizioso. That makes me shiver, even though we are riding the Doctor's bike.
Greetings to all our viewers from the peninsula of Qatar. The spotlights that light up the Losail circuit are on, and any moment now the MotoGP bikes will be revving their engines. The weather forecast for the race is good, and the riders have let us know that the track conditions aren't causing them any worries. We are moving to the starting grid, while the cameras are showing us the riders concentrating before the start of the race.
Oh, this is unbelievable. I haven't seen this before. This is incredible. Look at this. Oh, I'll tell you what. Codemasters, just look at this. Oh, there we are on pole. Look at Valley trying to just contain himself, calm himself down, get him in the zone before we start the Qatar Grand Prix. So here's the starting grid there. We're on pole. Marquez starts second. I love this presentation style, by the way. All the riders move away for the formation lap. Bit of a surprise that Lorenzo's all the way down in 8th, considering that Dovi starts 3rd. Good qualifying from Espargaro on the KTM to being 14th, but quite a poor performance from, well, who's put the bad performance? I'd say Abraham, probably. And a little bit harsh to those Mark VDS. These are the last two on the grid, but as you can see, it's not us riding this. It's a bit of a shame that we can't ride this warm-up lap, but we are going to continue in just a second. But we are nearly ready for the start of the Qatar Grand Prix. Here we go, making sure all on the bike is correct. We start in front of Marquez and Dovizioso. The grid are all lined up for the start of the first race. We have to pull the clutch. We wait for the lights. They illuminate. And we are racing here. We've pulled the clutch a little bit late and we've been swamped at the start. Jack Miller, what a start from the Pramac Ducati. He is up to the front of the race. What a fantastic start from him. It's very easy to go off on these bikes if you push too hard. So we're going to stay round the outside. A very poor start all the way down to 9th place. Not great. And we've been passed by Pedrosa on the outside line. And we've been mugged at the start here. Certainly no fault of our own in terms of bottling it or anything. I just think we had quite a poor getaway. We pulled the clutch too late. We're going to have to dive up the inside of Redding, even though we tap him here, and push him up the inside of the rest. And this was certainly not the start that we hoped for. We could have took losing a few positions, but I think honestly pulling the clutch too late there and releasing it could be a big detriment. But up the inside now of Iannone. Oh, we've gone off. We've crashed it and we've been run over by Iannone. That's interesting. And we are at the back of the field, even though Iannone is now off. Now Morbidelli's crashed. And oh dear, well, we've had our first incident. We were pushing too hard there. I only said a good 20-30 seconds ago about pushing too hard. And now it's going to be a real test from back to front in this Qatar Grand Prix. Closing in on Bradley Smith massively through that corner. Can we go up the inside of this one? We dive up the inside. We're on the marbles there, but we're okay on the at the edge of the track. But that was a brilliant overtake. Now we go over Tom Luthi, who's made a good start, to be fair. He started last on the Mark VDS, but he's had a good start. And it's turn 15, and if we can get close enough to the Mark VDS rider, we have a good chance going onto the front straight. Good exit out of 15. We're probably a little bit too far back to make a move on Luthi. Look at that. Dovizioso leads the race. He started third. A brilliant start from him. Viñales picking up the pace from where we dropped, the same as Marquez. And there's been a crash for someone at turn 1. That looks like a Suzuki who's gone off, and it is Alex Rins. So Iannone and us collided at the start, and the other Suzuki went off. Simeon and I think that's Tom Luthi still having a real battle through these corners, going side by side, really nudging each other, trying to get them off the track. We're going to take a bit of a wide line to get the overlap back on these two riders. Can we make a double overtake coming into the end of Sector 1? We certainly can. Oh, we've had a really messy line through there. That could not be great. That's another rider off. Who's off this time? It looks like a KTM. Who's that? Unfortunately, the overtake graphics are affecting who's come off, and we can't see that, but a great double overtake there. Can we finally get rid of them? Yeah, it looks like we've got past Luthi and Abraham now, and of course rinse the points. Big dice in front between Scott Redding, Cyrene and Nakagami. That's a really poor entry to that corner. We just lost the momentum. Momentum's a big thing with these bikes, particularly with the quick left and right corners, but coming into turn 10, we're about a second behind Nakagami, maybe not even that. And I think, considering we crashed earlier on the race and the sloppy start we had, a top 10 would be a great performance here. That dogfight still going on between Shireen on the tech-free Yamaha and Redding on the Pramac. Oh, going up the inside of Nakagami. Didn't expect to close so much on Cal's teammate there. Brake a little bit early for that corner. Try and get a run out of the corner, but we failed to do that. But coming up to... Oh, it was 16 the last corner, not 15, beg your pardon. Turn 16 we come up to now. And that's the last corner. Much better position on Nakagami that we had on Tom Luthi last time. Redding gets the run on Cyrene, trying to keep it as wide as possible. Petrucci has caught past Miller. It seems that Miller's good start has come to naught. He's back down to 6th, but a good result nonetheless for the Pramac driver. We brake late coming into here. We're on the inside of Nakagami. That's another rider gone off. Who's that that's gone off at the first corner? Oh, we've got a brilliant run on Cyrene and Redding. This could be free abreast coming into turn 2. That doesn't end well, but luckily ends quite nicely for us. We've got past Redding. Cyrene fights back on our junior bike, if you like. Same engine, etc., but run by different people, the tech-free Yamaha team. And Tito Rabat in P10. Very solid result for him so far. I'd love to know who come off at turn 1, though. Ooh, right on the back of Tito Rabat. We give him a tap there, and look at that. What a brilliant overtake that's been. I think it's fair to say that, although we probably do need to move... Ooh, Marquez and Dovian with a scrap up the front. I'd love to see that. Although we probably need to move the difficulty up, this race has been hectic so far. Pedrosa in P9, that's not great for him, is it? But quite a way up the road now, 2.6 seconds. We've really got to focus if we want to finish anywhere above 10th. And to be fair, finishing the top 10 after that incident with Iannone on the first lap would be a massive achievement. Well, I haven't been with you guys for nearly a lap now. It's taken that long just to get quite close to Pedrosa. And even now, we're sort of about a second behind him. But we were 2.5 seconds behind, so... to be only 8/10 behind now is a real big achievement. We've left the Suzuki of Rins, who had an incident earlier on in the race. We've left him for dead behind us. But we're up to P10 as we were before, and now we come on to the final lap. Can we get past Danny Pedrosa, the guy who we beat, of course, in Q1, and get into P9? I don't think we can catch the free race above us. I'd say there's a Pramac there of Jack Miller. We'll find out on the standings, of course. So we'll be in the top 10 on this little graphic now, which is nice. Miller's in 8th, yep, we've said that. Pedrosa 10th, Zarco 7th, and... Lorenzo in this battle as well, P6, interesting. It seems P5's with them as well, as if I can get my numbers right. There are 4 bikes there, aren't there? But it's still a battle at the front. That position for first keeps changing a lot between Dovizioso and Marquez. So who is going to come out on top in this first Grand Prix of the season? Getting very close behind Danny now. Can we take the position before the end? We don't want to take too many risks. Finishing 10th after having a crash on the first lap is an absolute virtue here. But, oh, very close to Pedrosa, probably braking too late. That's the only reason we got close to him. But we did make the overtake temporarily there. Petrucci up to 5th in head of Lorenzo. Ducati aren't going to be happy about that. What do they call it? I can't think what the bike's called now. The factory bike and the satellite bike, that's the one. The satellite Ducati beating the team factory Ducati. But we're getting close to Pedrosa. We've got a good run on him. We're not going to go up the inside here. But surely before the end of the race we can make a move. Come on, can we get the undercut here? Come on! Push, push, push! We're ahead of him for now. Will he get the run coming into this corner? That was a brilliant overtake, that was. He's going to try and come up the inside, is he? No, he's not. I think we've got him. And even though we can sniff the blood of the Aussie, Jack Miller, in front, a second's going to be too long to gain. But to get past Pedrosa, and I think we've got it now if we don't make any stupid mistake before the end. There's 2 corners to go now. You can technically count it as 3 if you count the little kink that comes up here. But we come up to the last corner. I don't think Pedrosa's anywhere near now. Oh, we broke a little bit late there. And that could let Pedrosa back in. I think we're okay. Come around the last corner. Pedrosa's quite a way away. Oh, we end up on the grass. We don't want to do that. Marquez for the Honda. Dovizioso was in front for the whole race. And Marquez snuck it at the end. But from the back of the grid, we go on board with Valley as we finish in 9th place, and that was solid, to be honest. After the crazy start we had, we've boosted our level up to nearly level 5, which is brilliant. Let's see the standings then. Marc Marquez wins the race, very similar on the best laps in the race, which is interesting to see. So we're definitely on the pace in terms of the Grand Prix, but Marquez started 2nd, finished 1st. Dovizioso did hold on for a while, but didn't get it. Viñales picked up, and Lorenzo, just look at the gap between Lorenzo and Petrucci at the end. Wow, 8 thousandths of a second between them at the end of the race. Let's see who's lower down in the points. Pedrosa in 10th, the other Spaniard, Alex Rins, in 11th. Cyrene, impressive, in 12th. Rabat in 13th, Iannone in 14th, and Scott Redding a Brit picking up the last point. Any big names outside the points? I don't think so. Bradley Smith, we're not the best race there. But as you can see, in the championship, we pick up 7 points. And we should be fairly close to the lead of the constructors. We're 16 points in the Constructors. I think how it works, the best position is picked up in terms of that little Constructors Championship. But the full Constructors Championship put Ducati and Repsol Honda on exactly the same amount of points. We're on 23 points. If we'd have won that race, that would have been a lot better for us. But I think that has been fantastic. That was a really enjoyable one to record. Really exciting there. And the team are happy with that. I think they acknowledged that even though we started on pole, we had a rough start. And considering where we were by turn 3 and 4, we recovered very well to finish in P9 above some of the big names of MotoGP. And that was a fantastic race. Now, obviously, that was just a pilot. So if you guys enjoyed, a like is what you need to give to make sure we do more videos of this. To be quite honest, I think this is coming on the channel anyway. There's no way I can just leave it there, folks. But leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe as well for potentially 2 videos of this a week. Leave a comment on what you thought as well as the racing. And also leave a comment whether how much you reckon we need to increase difficulty. I think it's only by a little bit, but we certainly don't want to be getting pole every weekend by virtue. But I've been TIJ Gaming. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.